Hi, I'm Ziante, and I'm a DSP at a mental health institute. I take care of clients with mental disabilities, and a lot of what I do really much revolves around their everyday living. I take them on their doctor's appointments, I read to them, I get them dressed, I clean for them, I do their laundry for them, I do their bedding for them. And I do this every week, 60 to 80 hours per week. So I spend a lot of time at work doing this. I'm also a full-time mom. So I have to do those same things for my family at home. And one of the things that I have in common with at home and at work is I cook a lot. I have to cook for my family before I go to work, and then I cook for my clients while I'm at work. One of the dishes that I make both places, and I love to make, and the people like for me to make, is peach cobbler. My clients love it, my family loves it, and sometimes I even get phone calls from the church for people asking me, will you make it? The recipe that I use is my granny's recipe with the twist. The reason I say with the twist is my granny made hers always fresh, always top ingredients, but mine is with the twist because I don't have time to do all the steps that she did. For example, my granny stay-at-home mom, and she would peel her own peaches. She would pick her own peaches, peel them, cut them up, boil them. Me, because I'm at work more than I'm at home, I don't have that amount of time. And when I'm at work making dishes, I'm still in a tight window frame because the clients have to eat by a certain time. So what I do, I buy canned peaches. It's just as good, tastes just as good as my granny's did. My granny also made her own dough. She put all the ingredients together: wheat, flour, water, butter, beat it up, roll it out. Once again, I don't have that type of time, so I use a pie crust, store-bought. Another thing is, okay, so I'm a huge Paula Deen fan. Paula Deen uses a lot of butter. Everything she cooks with butter. And luckily, this is one of those dishes that require butter. It requires quite a bit of butter, and you can taste the butter in it. It's so good. And my granny used like a stick and a half of butter, and Paula Deen used in her recipe 2 sticks of butter. Now, I do like the way Paula Deen recipe comes out. However, to me, it's not quite as good as my granny recipe. So, that's my twist. I use some of Paula Deen's things with my granny's recipe overall, and that's how come it's my granny's recipe with the twist. So, like Paula Deen, I use 2 sticks of butter. I use 6 cans of peaches. I use 2.5 cups of sugar. I use 2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 teaspoons of nutmeg. I bring all that to a boil. Once it's to a boil and it's boiling really good, I turn my fire down and let it simmer. I also add about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. Now, usually I would use my spoons. I do have measuring spoons, measuring cups, but because I make this so often, I know what it should look like, and I also know the difference in the smell once I add the vanilla. I bring it to a simmer. I let it simmer for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. While it's simmering, I go ahead with my next set of ingredients. See, I do have my spoon and have my cups, but I pre-did it because it's a presentation and for the sake of time. Next, I take a pan, a baking pan, and I spray it so that my dough won't stick. And I unroll 2 crusts for the bottom. Put them in. Try to cover the whole entire bottom. And here's here's my next one. And once my bottom cover, it's okay for it to sit over the top. That's fine. Once my pie crust is in, turn my oven up to 350. 350 is the standard time for everything. Because I already started cooking my peaches for the sake of time, they're already done. So I'm gonna take my pie crust over here and I'm going to start scooping my peaches into it. I do like the juice to go in there also. That's the reason I'm using the scooper right now. But once I get to the end, whereas I don't want too much juice because then it overflows. But I want to make sure I have enough juice, because if I don't have enough juice, it dries out really fast when it's baking. And that's the worst thing you could do, is have a dry peach cobbler. One of the best parts I like about this, oh my God, you can smell the butter. The butter smells so good. I mean, it's a sweet dish, but I think it's the butter. That's the Paula Deen in me that I'm loving. But let me finish putting these in here. I got quite a bit of juice in here right now, and I don't want too much, because if I get too much, as I said once before, it'll overflow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change over to a spoon with a strainer with slits in it, because it strains better. And I'm going to put my peaches in, continue to put my peaches in. Turn my fire off. Okay. Next step is I'm going to close it up. One of the perks of being, hanging over the top was it's easy to close up. I only need one on the top for the close. Because I already had so much in there, and I was able to fold it over. One is sufficient. Then, same knife I cut my butter with, I cut little slots in it so it can breathe. Then what I do next is I take a cinnamon sugar and I sprinkle it over the top. Put it in the oven. I put it in the oven for about an hour, hour and a half. When I take it out, it's going to be so buttery, so rich, so good, which is just all my favorites. So here's what it looks like when it's done. You can smell the butter in it, and if you notice, it's really thick. The juice has thickened up, and it turns into a syrup. See, it's thick like a syrup. This is my granny's recipe of peach cobbler. It's an all-time favorite. I love doing it. I love doing it at home. I love doing it with the clients, and now you can do it as well.